Is self-defense legal? Self-defense is legal, but the techniques and the manners of which you employ may not be. So everybody has the right to defend themselves. That's number one. You have the right to not be attacked. You have the right to not be physically harmed. You have the right to not be stolen from. Everything we teach in our bud is legal. It falls within the parameters of legal self-defense. Legal self-defense is defined as using reasonable force. Is it what you did, is that reasonable for the situation you were in? Reasonable force, as I've mentioned in other clips, is dictated by the level of threat we face. So, if there's a guy in his 70s, I've used this analogy before, but it holds true. If you've got a guy in his 70s and he barely weighs 9 stone and he's frail and he's had 3 pints and it's hit him and he's just, honk me, it's reasonable to walk him over to one side and say, mate, you're going to have to leave. You shouldn't be treating people like this. This isn't you. You're making the women uncomfortable. You're trying to pick fights with people. We're going to get you a taxi and we'll send you home. That's reasonable. If you've got a 6'5", 20 stone person who has been in and out of prison for committing horrifically violent acts upon people for no fucking reason, he comes from a violent family, he's known to carry weapons, then with him, a quiet little chat isn't going to work. With him, you are going to need to line him up and crack the bastard. Hard, possibly repeatedly. If you were to take that method with the old man, that would not be reasonable at all. With the big fella, who you've got reason to believe is going to get super violent, you've got every cause for, well, I had to go first because I know the guy's reputation. Look at the size of the bastard. I'm not going to give him the opportunity to go first. And you'll see from his criminal record, he does this thing quite often. So that would be reasonable. Within the context of reasonable force with a regular sized person, someone of your own build, off the fence, the first time they touch us, we say, mate, just please leave us alone, we don't want any trouble. The second time they touch it, we push them back and say, mate, if you fuck with me, I'll go bowling with your skull. Don't try me, you prick. Third time they try it, we've tried reasoning with them, saying, please leave me alone. We've gone to the other extreme. We've told them, if you fuck with me, I'll come to your house on Sunday and in front of your kids, I'll rip your fucking face off. Neither of those two things have worked. So if neither of those two extremes have worked, we've got no reason to believe anything in between would have any effect on the guy. Therefore, we believe it has to now go physical. And if it's going to go physical, I'm going to go first. So again, off the fence, we ask our question, then boom, crack them on the jaw. They hit the deck, we stamp the ankle, and we stamp on that ankle to break the bone. It's not just to inflict pain or damage, the damage is to break the structure, so he cannot get to his feet and chase me. That's why I do that. It's not just like, yeah, give him a fucking hiding. It is, boom, I need to break that ankle so it will not support his weight so he cannot chase after me. Hits the deck from the preemptive strike, stamp the ankle, then we run. That's because I've done just enough to create a window of opportunity for me to escape, or indeed the people I'm with to escape. That's reasonable. If I crack him, he hits the deck, I stamp on his ankle, then I give him a couple of kicks to the gut, I drop a knee onto the back of his kidneys, then I start jumping on his knees, that's not reasonable. You cannot hit somebody, knock them over, stamp their ankle, and then stand there going, fucking get up then, get up, come on. That's not reasonable. If our whole thing for doing the preemptive strike was I had every reason to believe this guy was about to attack me, and out of fear for my own safety, I went first. If you're afraid of the person, why don't you take the opportunity to escape? If you're afraid of this person being violent towards you, why are you standing there goading him to come on then? Doesn't make sense. So that's not reasonable. If somebody is, let's say someone cuts you up in traffic, right? Blare the horn, flipping the finger, whatever, all stuff that you shouldn't be doing, right? Because I guarantee whatever mistakes another driver is making that really piss you off, those are the ones you do all the time. I guarantee it. We're always pissed off with what we see in ourselves in other people. So if someone cuts you off and doesn't say thank you, or they just do it erratic driving, that's the shit you yourself will do at some point. If, however, you decide to drive past them, you're like, you fucking moron. Alright, it's not incredibly smart, but it happens. If you decide to follow the fucker, and you decide to follow him to his house, and then you decide to start a fight with him on his driveway, and your whole reason for this is, well, he was driving erratically, he could have hurt somebody. That's not reasonable. It's not a reasonable behaviour of a reasonable person. There's something wrong with you if you do that. If you find out somebody has somebody through the grapevine says, well, John's been bad mouthing you. Okay, if you go to John's house, or if you go to John's place of work, and you're, hey, you got a fucking problem with me, dickhead? None of this is reasonable. At no point now can you claim this was self-defense. If you're sat minding your own business and John comes over to you and starts waffling on, calling you every name under the sun, you could say, well, look, mate, none of that's true. Stop it, because what you do, you're spreading lies about me, that's illegal. Knock it off, mate. Oh, what the fuck are you going to do? What the fuck are you going to do, prick? Then if you crack him and get gone, now that's self-defense because he's been violent towards you. Quick note on this, you do not need to wait for somebody to actually push you or be any physical with you at all in order for you to hit them first and still have it be self-defense. I will link the CPS website under here. I've put it on some of the other clips as well. You don't need to be physically touched before you launch a preemptive strike of your own. Just so a quick thing with this. If you've got a 5'2" woman and there is a 6'1", 18-stone man coming at her aggressively, it would be stupid and brain-damaged levels of ridiculousness to expect her to wait for him to hit her first so she can go, I go now. It doesn't happen like that. Whoever goes first, goes second, third, fourth, and fifth, and they keep fucking going until the other guy's completely out of it. So you do not need to wait for someone to physically attack you before you can defend yourself. The problem with this is people will hear what they want to hear, and they think it's now an excuse to go around and just start shitting people. With the fence, the first time they touch it, please mate, leave me alone, I'm just trying to go home. If they let you go but they're calling you every name under the sun, keep going, they're letting you go. If they don't let you go and you have to push them back, say fuck off mate or I'll kill you, don't say kill you, but you know what I mean. That's the second time. That should be enough. You've just literally said, I'm going to go bowling with your head, I'm going to fucking bury you, I'm going to take you off the planet. If that is not enough, then when they come forward and you go for it and you flee, well, that's justified. I had every reason to believe that this was going to get physical because I have said, please leave me alone, I don't want any trouble, just let me go. That didn't work. I went to the other end of the spectrum and I said, alright, but if we're doing this, I'm going to fucking take you off the planet. Your family will cry when they see what I fucking do to you. That hasn't had any effect. So there's nothing you can say in between them that's going to get them to stop. Therefore, I had to go first and be physical, and that's what I did. As soon as there was the opportunity for me to escape, I escaped. I'm the one who then got home and told the police. I phoned you guys and said, look, this guy's just tried to attack me. That is reasonable force. That is justifiable. That is what self-defense is. In that parameter, self-defense is legal. If you carry a weapon and say, well, it's for self-defense purposes, that is not legal. That is illegal because you are carrying something with the intent to do harm with it. Not legal at all. You shouldn't be carrying a weapon at all. I think there was a question on here that I'll get to that. Quick covering weapons in a minute. Self-defense is legal. You have absolutely every right to defend yourself and defend your property and to defend others who are with you. But if you use the fence, use the power of 3 from the fence, and once you hit them, you flee, that way we are safe. Within the Arbud syllabus, we only train for what we know is legal at the time. Again, it's going to vary from country to country. In America, it's an absolute minefield, because it varies from state to state. In Britain, you have the right to defend yourself. You don't need to be physically attacked or physically touched before you preemptively strike, as long as you use that to get the fuck away. Reasonable force is dictated by the level of threat that you face. I hope that's pretty much all. I hope I covered that up. Any questions, queries, comments, suggestions, let me know, and I promise I'll try to get them as quickly as I can.